Here's the story of a trainer named Rhett who decided to join a Pokemon Draft League. He played against a Bubble Hulk who ran a Trick Room in bulk. It's the story of a trainer named Curry who battled in a Pokemon Draft League. Oh, he was good friends with a trainer named Theo. And the two put on a show, you know that they did. Till one day, when Rhett approached Curry, oh no, don't forget about Bubble and Theo. That this group must somehow form a draft league. And that's the way we all began the VBA. The VBA. VBA. That's the way we all began the VBA. Oh yeah!
Hey, Bubble.
Yeah?
There's a rumor going around town that you may or may not be in possession of a face cam now.
Oh, there is? Hold on, let me go put a shirt on real quick.
I think the people are ready, man. The people are ready for the big reveal in 3, 2... Hello, everyone. Theo here, as well as the rest of the admin team. And today we are going to chit-chat about the season and how it is going so far. So welcome Rhett, Currypuff, and Bubble Hulk to this video. Hello, guys. Thanks for joining.
Hey,
How's it going?
And guys, we are in presence of the Bubble Cam. Look at his beautiful face and his beautiful shirt. He's got the Fungus shirt as well. All right.
Oh yeah, don't fuss with little Gus.
So we are currently towards the end of week 4 and still waiting on a few matches to be played, but this is what our current standings look like right now, about a third of the way into the season. We have the Alexandria Arcanines, coached by Dan, aka Stout Gaming, in first, followed by the Sandstone Scissors, coached by Wolfender, in second, and our very own Bubble Hulk, coach of the Gardner Guzzlords, in third. And then at the other end, we have Popos VGC of the Fuchsia City Royals, Ryan PB of the Meltan Nuts, and Hawk the Wanderer of the Island Dragons, each yet to take a win. But bear in mind that not all week 4 matches have been played or reported yet, so there are going to be some discrepancies here between 4 games and 3 game records. But yeah, so let's start at the top here. We have the Alexandria Arcanines. Are any of you guys surprised of how well they're doing? They haven't dropped a game yet. They're 4-0 with a +8 differential, which means they've gone 2-0 in 4 games. Let's see, Rhett, what are you thinking? I mean, we did give him a low meter on the spice level, but we said his team looks pretty threatening. Are you surprised that he's doing so well?
not really. I mean, you know, you got to get a confidence boost when week 1 you play the worst team in the league. You know, that kind of catapults you forward.
Okay. All right. So we're going that route. That's the type of tone we're gonna take here. Rhett's gonna start off like that. Curry, do you have any thoughts about that? Any sayings?
I mean, it also helps that I'm known to have really terrible RNG for first week with crits and misses and stuff like that. Looking at Joe's match versus me last season as well. It was flashbacks. Yeah, no, not surprising. No real spice. Nothing surprising that he's done. Like physical Coco, no surprise there. Brain, Mantine, no surprise. Like I predicted him pretty well for week 1, but without knowing him. And I don't know. Yeah, I'm not surprised he's doing really good with a team like that.
Yeah, I mean, we've well, obviously, you know, Curry's played against him, but we hadn't seen any of his matches last season. But I mean, he clearly knows how to play. The guy knows how to play really well.
Oh, he's a really good player.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. So I'm personally not surprised. I think he definitely has probably arguably the most threatening team in the whole league. Probably
for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, Bubble, are you surprised about the Arcanine's performance?
I mean, no, looking. I don't remember what I said in our initial video, but I really wanted the Glastrier on my team. He got it really late. With Torkoal, Bronzong for Trick Room. It's and the Venusaur. It's a horrifying team. And taking 3 tier 1s, I think, is probably the best thing you can do. And even the tier 4s that he ended up with on his bench are still good. Frostmoth, Thievul, and Behiam. I mean, I know he just used the Thievul this week or last week.
Yeah, he's been utilizing
pretty good effect.
Yeah, he's been utilizing that Thievul pretty well. And then the Behiam as he brought it one time. It hits like a truck. It really hits like a truck.
Especially with the analytical.
Yeah. So are any of you guys really surprised? It doesn't sound like it that they're up so high.
Nah.
Yeah. Now, here's another thing here. Number 2 spot belongs to Wolf currently on our standings right now. I haven't seen the score of his week 4 match yet, but
we can actually confirm it.
It's
incorrect. Yeah.
Oh,
I was just waiting for a bit.
incorrect.
Yeah, he said it was one of the kills is incorrect for Blastoise, so I was gonna wait for the video to go over it.
Well, I mean, that doesn't really change the overall result, though.
Okay, let's confirm and refresh the page. Do it.
Alright, I'll just approve it. I'm already on it.
And then we'll just edit it afterwards.
Yeah, we can fix it.
Is there anyone else that we missed? Just Wolf?
No, that was the only one that was in there to confirm. Oh, Wolf fell.
Oh.
He's not third. It's not
all right. This is live, folks. This is live here.
We got our second place person in the video.
Oh my goodness. So now with the confirmed match between Wolf and was it Greedy Greninjas? Bubble is actually in the Gardner Guzzlers are actually in second place. Bubble, you haven't played your week 4 yet, have you?
Sort of doesn't count yet. Yeah, no, we haven't played yet. We're playing in about 3.5 hours.
Okay, sounds good. So yeah, well, right now Bubble's number 2. Curry, you surprised about that? What do you think?
I just heard my dog bark.
Remember, he's on the call with us.
Right.
Let it out.
Yeah, I gotta be mean when you're on the call with me, because then you get to see my how mean I'm really being. I'm super surprised. Couldn't be more surprised. Okay. I'm done. Hey.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised. I do like how Bubble's been using that Incineroar like a freaking
Dynamax.
Crazy, Dynamax target. The Incineroar.
Got a lot of attack, that guy.
Yeah, dude, you've been killing it with the Incineroar. Have you found it difficult to utilize both Rillaboom and Feeny together? The two terrains?
Yeah, so there's been at least one matchup where I didn't even bring Rillaboom just because they had so many grass resistances. So that made it easier, but most of the time I do want the Misty terrain up just to not get any of the status conditions going off.
Yeah, that makes sense. Have you played any... You haven't played Curry or Rhett yet, right?
No.
Okay, all right.
No.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, you have a pretty scary team. You probably have... You have a pretty much ladder team as well. I think... Dan, the Alexandria Arcanines, I think the Meltan Nuts, and I think your team are very close to ladder teams. And I'm not surprised that you're doing that well. We know you can play. Yeah, well, how about you, Rhett? Are you surprised about Bubble's placing? Were you expecting to be more in the middle?
No, I mean, I think the big difference between Bubble this season and Bubble last season is that I think he learned a lot about drafting last season, because the team that he drafted this season is much less predictable. Last season, if you could deny Trick Room, you could win against his team.
Right.
And there just wasn't much he could do about it. And now that he has a team that is competent in a lot of different modes, it doesn't surprise me at all that he's doing so well. I really think that it was just his team holding him back last season.
Yeah. Speaking of modes, I think that's a good thing to point out because I mentioned earlier that I think there are 3 ladder-like teams in Alexandria Arcanines, Gardner Guzzlers, and Meltan Nuts. Obviously, Bubble and Dan are at the top of the ranking right now. And then the Ryan PB is more towards the bottom, even though he has a ladder-esque team. I think right here is one thing you notice, though, is that there's a lot more synergy with the Bubble and Dan's teams. There are a lot more modes available. Bubble has 2 different terrains that he can play in. He has a lot of different combinations that he could bring that synergize well. Same thing with the Alexandria Arcanines, whereas the Meltan Nuts, their team might he has a couple weakness policy procs possibilities. And
I'm prepping for him right now. His team's scary.
But he doesn't have a way to. He can't play in multiple terrains, or he can't. Does he have a? Can he play fast and slow on his end?
I think like whatever speed he's in, like the Moltres is still threatening. The Lapras can set the screens, so like he could be really bulky even if he doesn't have the speed control.
Yeah, he also has. I feel like his lower tiers aren't as threatening. Like I don't think Swampert's super threatening, and I say Soul Rock isn't threatening, but he's done pretty well with the Soul Rock.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't brought the Pinsir yet. The Pinsir does a lot. It hits so hard, and it has a pretty good speed stat.
Like he also has a Moongus, so I mean, even in Trick Room, like that's pretty scary. I mean, I have Tapu Fini for the Misty Surge, but
right.
No matter what, you have to prepare for it, though.
Oh
yeah. So I mean, he's got enough slow stuff that like I'm not really sure what mode I want because I don't really want to bring Bronzor against this.
To me, it seems like he has a lot of like really good individual mons, and then Raichu for weakness policy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lapras Moltres is the scariest lead, or one of them, just because of he could Ice Shard the Moltres for a weakness policy,
right.
or he could max the Lapras and set up the screens.
This is true,
and then like protect or something like so, or he could max Airstream and do something else. I don't know, but
yeah, but in a way, I feel like he's always gonna bring some combination. Well, he's always going to bring some combination of his
Moltres Raichu for sure.
Moltres Raichu, Metagross, Amoonguss. I feel like those guys are always coming, no matter what. So you can prep. It stinks to prep for all of them because they kind of cover each other, but it's pretty nice knowing that the ones towards the bottom likely aren't coming because it's pretty top heavy. And the ones towards the bottom don't really synergize well with the rest of the team.
In Ryan's team, I see a lot of mons that are like good mons, but that don't support each other particularly well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
With the exception of Raichu supporting Moltres and Lapras, it feels like it's a team where he saw what was available and he's like, oh, that's good, I'll take it. And that's not necessarily a bad strategy. I just think that a little more thought into how they were going to come together might have given him more tools to work with here.
I agree. I agree with that. It does seem like the main strat is going to be Raichu as a weakness policy procer for all three of his, his top mons, Metagross, Moltres, and Lapras. And it also feels like he's always going to bring weakness policy on one of those guys. So if you're going into the match, if you're prepping for this team, the big thing, find out where the weakness policy is and find out where the life orb is, and you can kind of play game 2, and if game 3 is needed, you can kind of work around that pretty easily.
Just the fact that so much of his team wants to have the weakness policy is a limiting factor, right? It means that everything is kind of competing every week for that same item. That just makes it a lot harder to team build, if you're not comfortable building unusual sets with those particular Pokemon. And so far we haven't seen anything terribly unusual in terms of his team builds, or at least if we have, I haven't really noticed it.
Go against him. He's definitely a good battler. It's very obvious he called the switch into Toxicroak for the game 1, and then he read that I wouldn't. Granted, I max guarded. He didn't really have a way to deal with the soak mechanic that I went with, which kind of makes sense. Because his team definitely has some things that it struggles with. But I do disagree in the fact that I don't think Metagross always wants the weakness policy. I don't think Lapras always wants the weakness policy. We've seen Life Orb Lapras in Bladder as well. And I don't think Moltres necessarily always needs it. I just think the issue we're seeing a little bit of with his team, because he is a very smart battler, is he builds it with a one dimension for ladder. I could see the teams that he brings against the matches versus me or matches versus other players would do really good on the ladder. Would it do as good in a draft? No, I don't think so, because they are kind of the cookie cutter build. But I think he definitely has some surprises in the team. He just needs to start utilizing those. Because Lapras also does play a nice support role. Moltres can play a nice proccing role. There's a lot of ways to proc stuff that can really start to throw people off if he starts utilizing a little bit more. Doesn't necessarily have to only be Raichu. Then he can also ban Amoonguss and put Choice Band on it and kill Tapu Fini in one hit.
I hope not.
Ryan PB's his team, the Meltan Nuts, it's pretty similar to what Popo's had last season as well.
Yeah.
With the Raichu, Moltres, Lapras, Gmax Lapras core. And Popo's is also, he's tied with Ryan at 0-3, and I'm not sure if he's played his week 4 match yet. Okay.
Yeah, it was played on stream, but I don't think any of us caught it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Senpai said he's gonna upload it later.
Okay.
But we'll have to. But they haven't submitted the match yet at all.
Gotcha. Well, he's also towards the bottom of the rankings right now. Now his team this season is way different. It's not a ladder team at all. It's a team chosen by his viewers. So in kind of it's almost comparable to the dice roll drillbers this season, where it's slightly random, slightly wonky, but the dice roll drillbers are currently at 2-2. They're in the middle of the pack, whereas the Royals are 0-3.
I think it's probably just having your stream pick your Pokemon. It's definitely a fun thing to do. I'm sure they had a blast doing it. And it looks like a very Trick Room heavy team, which was kind of the problem I ran into last season that Rhett mentioned earlier. It looks like every Pokemon carries Trick Room almost, or needs to be in Trick Room, except for maybe Charizard. He can come up with some spice too.
Oh yeah, he definitely has a team that is is a high potential for spice. High potential for spice for sure. Especially with that Shuckle and the Chansey there.
I was
but yeah.
horrified that those might come. Yep.
But the Porygon 2, he does have the
power
best
trick
trick room setter.
yesterday.
What was that?
I think he powered. I did catch a little bit of Senpai's match. If I remember correctly, he Dynamax Shuckle and power tricked with it.
See, that's what we call spicy, guys. That's what we
Yeah,
call
he brought
spicy.
the spice.
I think this team that his viewers drafted for him, I think I like it a lot better than his team last season. I think it's a lot harder to prep for because you really don't know what he's thinking with most of it.
Yeah.
Kingler is really strong, hits like a truck, and he's got one of the best redirectors in the game. He's got he's got a couple of really interesting modes here that I would really love to see explored, and I think he's I think he's working his way through them and bringing them out when they make the most sense. So I think even though he's down, I think there's still a lot of potential here for a comeback.
Yeah, we're still so early in the season. We're only about a third of the way through. And so, Rhett, you think this team, you think Popo, with his streamer team, can make a comeback and get to that 500 mark and potentially make playoffs?
I do. I think there's a real chance that he comes back and makes playoffs.
So I'm against him this week.
What are you gonna
I
bring?
will say, gonna bring some stuff, some Pokemon, maybe 6, maybe 7. No, I did like his pickup of the Guzzlord. I did like the pickup of the Rabombi. Obviously, the first thing that comes to mind is speed swap shenanigans right there. I think his stream trolled him a little bit with the initial build, but I think he has a lot of things that he can work with, and I think he's trying to make it work. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how we match up this week because both of us have very unorthodox teams, to say the least. But
It's gonna be a fun one to watch for sure.
yeah, I'm wondering. He's starting to bringing the cheese, and I'm a man of cheese,
Yeah, a man of cotton and cheese.
Rude. It's gonna be. I think he can pull it back. I think he is getting out of his comfort zone. We know Popo is a really good battler. We know he makes smart decisions. We know he's very capable. I just think doing non-standard ladder stuff is kind of taking him out of his comfort zone, and we're starting to see him find his own when it comes to doing something that's a little on the jankier side. I think that's where he struggles a little bit, but he's obviously a really good battler. I don't think anyone should go into the match like off of these scores going, oh, I'm gonna just trounce him. No, that's not gonna happen. That guy's gonna give you a fight no matter what. But overall, I'm not surprised by his team not doing great, but he's still making it work, even though the score doesn't really show that. And I think now they've got some of the new additions, I think we're going to start to see him definitely pull back, like Rhett was saying. Just hopefully not against me this week.
Yeah, I didn't actually realize he made a switch for Guzzlord. That's a really good. What did he trade out for the Guzzlord?
War Turtle. So War Turtle's gone, and he's picking up Guzzlord.
Nice. That's gonna play really. That actually, I think that makes the team a lot better since he's so trick room heavy. That's really scary. So yeah, I agree that I could definitely see him making a comeback and getting definitely be in the running for the playoff spot like that. Maybe that 6 through 8 spot, probably 7 through 8, 7 or 8 spot would be my guess. And then at the very bottom, we have Island Dragon so far, who coached by Hawk the Wanderer.
So, I mean, I haven't watched all his matches, but I know he started real heavy on the dragon theme, which is fun for like monotype. But in a draft league, when they could just put like an ice move on their Pokemon and just, you know, go to town on you, you got to switch it up a little. So I like some of the changes he's made, adding the Milotic. I like his team. I kind of wanted Cottonee on my team.
Rhett, you actually went up against Hawk. What are your thoughts?
I think the biggest thing about Hawk is that he went into some of his matches in the first few weeks expecting to lose. He actually told me after our match that he was just kind of waiting to get his loss against me and against Sam and the Dice Roll Drillbirds out of the way before he could start his season. And I really strongly believe that you need to go into every match believing that you can win, even if it's a bad matchup, even if you feel outmatched by the other player. Like, it is so easy to create a self-fulfilling prophecy and to kind of convince yourself that you can't win. And I'm worried that he may have set himself up to lose a few matches that he could have won by just not being confident enough in his abilities.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think all the other coaches, if you should never, I completely agree, Rhett. You shouldn't go into the matchup thinking that go in thinking that you're going to lose, or, you know, because then even during prep, you're probably not going to try as hard during prep, right? So it really does hinder their potential for that matchup. I mean, there's no guarantee that he would have lost against you and Sam. So I mean,
right.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, I think he can definitely, he has the team that, I mean, it has a lot of dragons on it, but I mean, if he changes his mindset against the rest of his matchups, I mean, I could definitely see this team making a comeback as well.
I think he needs to start bringing Rain, Tapu Lele, and stuff.
Yeah, the Psychic Surge. Yeah,
like, just he needs it.
I agree with that.
Protect him from, like, forget faking out. Faking out's worthless in a Dynamax format for the most part. Like, you fake out the wrong Pokemon and Dynamax is all of a sudden, what do? It's like you give him a free turn where they took like minimal damage. Honestly, if he, I think, starts bringing the Psychic Surge Tapu Lele, and I'm saying this because I don't verse him, because I think he definitely should. I don't have to worry about it. I think that'll start helping because it'll protect him. I'll protect a lot of his mons. It'll protect him from Prankster. I wish he brought it against Joe this week, because that would have, against Whimsicott, it's like you want that Psychic Surge. He doesn't have a lot that's going to get hurt from having Psychic Surge on the field, because, I mean, the most he has is Cottonee, which I know people think Cottonee's really good. It's got some gimmicks that it can do. I think Cottonee would also be a good trade for him eventually. Otherwise, sorry, go ahead.
I agree. I mean, I do think that Cottonee is really good. However, I don't think Cottonee is really good on this team. And I agree that it would be a good trade to drop Cottonee for something, because, you know, you've got Lele, and like I think you're just, if you need a fairy type, you're probably bringing Lele. And the support that Cottonee brings is not as strong as what Lele can do. And, you know, if the team were built different, Cottony might be a really scary threat here. But I would agree that you want to lean into Psychic Surge and get rid of your priority mechanics for this team.
And I mean, I like the way he's been using Milotic. I've always thought Milotic's kind of good with the weakness policy. It's a low-key good strat, although a lot of times it doesn't. A lot of people don't utilize it on it. I think it's actually pretty good for, especially in Dynamax. Otherwise, I think I'm a little surprised this team is as low as it is right now. But I mean, I think that's, again, self-defeating never helps, because if you think you're going to lose, you're setting yourself up for that failure. Even if you think you're a bad player, which most times, like, most people aren't, like, you can see a 2-year-old beat a world champion sometimes because the kid just uses fissure the entire time, right? Like, Pokemon isn't always skill. Sometimes it is RNG. Sometimes you got to play for that RNG. I played for that RNG my last match. It's bad matchup or good matchup. Always try and bring your best, because you might surprise yourself, and it's only going to help you learn how to play the game, and it's going to help you grow as a player, and just in general outside, it just helps with that confidence. If you're defeating yourself before you give yourself the shot, then you need to treat yourself with that same respect that you want to treat your opponent with. And he's obviously a good player. He just needs to, I think, get out his head a little bit there, and I think he'll start doing really good. He's got some really good teams, or good strategies, and he's got that Garchomp. I really like Garchomp. I don't know what he can actually hear. A little advice to someone who used Garchomp last season: pick yourself up someone who can discharge next to it, and just discharge for free.
Yeah, and he's only made one transaction this season so far, so I mean, he can definitely change his team comp with before the deadline and really make this team more threatening. But yeah, I mean, it's so early in the season right now, so any of these teams up towards the bottom, they can still crank it out and still vie for that the last few playoff spots, no problem. It's going to be tough, but it's early enough, and he has enough transactions left to really make that push. All right, let's go to a few of our other teams that are towards the middle of the pack here. So we have, we have to give Sasori his due, because he is technically tied for fourth right now. Tied with the Sandstone Scissors, Wolfender. So Sasori's been doing really well. I feel like he's been exceeding my expectations. I mean, I didn't really know much about him as a player, but I personally am surprised that he's doing so well, just because I knew nothing about him. But he's been playing really well, and he had a really big win over you, Rhett.
Yeah, and that to get that win, he played phenomenally. That was, I was telling him, and I think I said it in my video, but that was one of the best games of Pokemon I've played in a very long time. It was close. It was tense. It came down to a couple of really good calls on his part, like catching Corviknight on the switch in with a max flare, and he prepped hard for Corviknight, and I thought he just played incredibly well, and so I'm, based on our game, I'm not surprised that he's doing so well this season.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have a pretty strong finish based on how he's doing so far. And going back to your set versus Sasori, Rhett, I mean, you won game 1, and then he came back in the last 2 games. I feel like mentally it's a lot harder to come back with the 2 games in a row. Typically when you go to 3 games, it goes A wins, B wins, and then A wins again, or something like that. it's a lot harder to win 2 in a row like that at the end when you're on the back foot. And yeah, I mean, he's a great battler.
We've got a lot of the tier 1s. The Rillaboom Togekiss seems really good. The Gmax Snorlax. Yeah, I like this team a lot.
It's a really solid team. Yeah. He's getting rid of the Rangaroo, right?
Rangaroo's going for somebody, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good team. And then Rillaboom, Togekiss next to each other.
For Gastrodon.
Really good.
So Gastrodon will be on this team
That makes
to protect the Marowak, maybe.
Yeah.
Or in the Turtonator.
Or to protect everything from Dracovish.
Yeah.
Let's see.
That makes sense.
No, I think he has a very scary team. The match that he played against Rhett, it shows that he knows how to be very calculating and think things through, because Rhett came with a very scary team to him. And I mean, we saw how much that Kingler did to the Arcanine.
Oh yeah, that Kingler was crazy. It hit so hard.
Hit like a truck. So I mean, he has a lot of good mons. It's a very well balanced team. Overall, yeah, I think anyone going against him should be scared. I am against him week 10, and I do know one strategy that I'm glad he has not utilized yet, and I'm hoping he doesn't know it, and I hope he doesn't save it till then. And you guys know what it is. I'm not going to mention it because I don't want him utilizing that, because that would definitely be really scary. I think I'm not surprised by this team. Looking at it, it's not surprising at all. It's a very, very good team. He had a rough, I think, first match when he tried to instruct the Lax when it didn't work. But besides that, he's really just bounced back and has been kind of steamrolling. I think he can take a game off Dan.
Oh,
I think he'll beat him. I think he'll beat him.
All right. I wonder if they'll be matched up.
I'll look while we move on.
Yeah, and then next up we have the Great Lakes Grimmsnarls, coached by Wakeman VGC, or Sam. He's doing really well too. He's tied with Sasori right now, and I'm not surprised. He's done well in other draft leagues, and that was another thing with Sasori that surprised me, because this is his first ever draft league. But Sam, on the other hand, has done a bunch of them, and he's also doing really well. I'm not surprised. He is utilizing the Gmax Cinderace really well. Typically, in previous seasons, Gmax Cinderace has kind of struggled to make playoffs, but I think Sam might break that curse, the VBA Gmax Cinderace curse. What do you think, Rhett?
Well, first, I just want to say that while Sasori has never played a draft league season before, he has played in some of the other leagues that we've run over in the Ruby Isles Discord. And so, like draft, those require you to be kind of creative in how you build your teams. So he's had some experience with building outside the box of ladder or VGC.
Fair point.
But
I just want to interrupt real quick. He does go against Dan week 9. Sasori.
That'll be a big game.
Yep.
They're both probably going to be on top around that time too. Yeah.
He was watching them. All right, sorry, I didn't interrupt Rhett.
It's so good. The Grimmsnarls, it's easy to look at the Cinderace and how well he's been using it and focusing on that, but he's got so many other good options with, the Clefairy and the Spectrier, and he's got a lot of options. He traded to pick up Glaceon, which I think was an excellent trade. I think the number of tools that this team gives him, I think he's I don't think it's very surprising that he's on top, and especially the one loss that he got was very RNG dependent. That was his game against Wolf.
RNG
Oh yeah,
team.
that was crazy. Wolf really showed off the RNG card. Or he praised RNG Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Darn Jesus.
RNG is real hard.
Yeah, and it pays off. Yeah. Curry, you have any thoughts on the Grimmsnarls?
No, I mean he actually has a setup that I used in season 0 with the Tentacruel and Bulldoze. Granted, I used it with Rillaboom and Scarfed. He's definitely been playing out of the box. We saw he use this special Cinderace. And I mean, overall, the fact that Clefairy is now with Cinderace, we haven't seen that before in terms of draft. Normally, Clefairy doesn't end up on the same team as Cinderace. It is. And that's going to make this a scary team to go against because of that Cinderace in that situation. So it'll be interesting to see where he takes all of this. I think he's going to do really good. I'm not surprised he's doing as good as he is. The RNG be damned. That's the way the cards roll sometimes. Just RNG.
Yeah.
It giveth and it taketh.
This is true. And
So,
speaking of RNG, we have the RNG drafted team in the Dice Roll Drillbers. Sam is doing better than I thought he would do from when he first mentioned his game plan of how he's going to draft a few months ago. I will say that he is doing better than I thought from when he announced how he was going to draft. His team is actually not half bad, and I'm not surprised that he's doing as well as he is right now. I think my prediction going forward is that he's probably going to stay in the middle of the crowd, kind of where he's at right now, but I think he stands a strong chance at playoffs. It's obviously too early to tell, but that's just my guess currently. What about
I'm not surprised he's hanging in there with the way he drafted the team. He was obviously one of the best teams last season, and I think whatever he's got, he's going to make it work. The Pheromosa, he's been doing a lot of Pheromosa. He's been doing a lot of good work with. He's utilized that much better than I did last season. It looks like it's got 12 kills right now, and 12 kills, 6 deaths. So it somehow hangs in there.
Yeah. So he actually wanted to trade the Pheromosa away when he first drafted it. And I was like, dude, you got to at least see what it can do before you trade it away. And it has really paid off for him to hold on to it.
It's been his most brought Pokemon by a mile.
Yeah, I know. He didn't even want it.
And I mean, Rhett, has the way Sam's season has been going currently, has he convinced you to dice roll your picks for next season?
No.
No, not a chance.
I mean, Sam has been playing very, very well. And, obviously I'm invested in his season because I'm helping him prep for every match after week 1. But I'm a little surprised that he's not higher, honestly. Just because even last season, a lot of his success was making unconventional Pokemon work for him. Like, everybody was terrified of Whiscash.
Oh.
Everybody was terrified of Whiscash last season, so much so that, like, we actually had people telling us that it needed to be a tier 2 or a tier 3.
That's
and
crazy.
like, I know that he can make these unconventional teams work.
Yeah. I mean, he can and he is, and frankly, like the last matchup against the Great Lakes Grimmsnarls, it could have gone either way. So there was a strong chance he was going to be sitting 3-1 while we had this discussion here. So, yeah. What about you, Curry? What do you think about Sam's season so far?
Oh, I think it's going really well. I'm actually not surprised he's doing as well. Again, we know he's a good battler. The other thing is, like, his team it's strong. There's some ladder Pokemon on there. There's the Grimmsnarl. There's the Dracozolt. I mean, those are the only two real ladder ones. But the fact that they get the same support that you get from a lot of other ladder mons, like they're replacing those ones. And he's not just utilizing Pokemon that way, like the standard way. Like we can Palsy Grimmsnarl with Pickpocket. It's a smart idea. I don't know if that works with Dynamax or Gigantamax form, because I know like with Runerigus, its ability doesn't work with whatever Wandering Spirit. But the Pheromosa, I think he's done really good with, and we haven't even seen him really bring super support with it. It's just been kind of cleaning up for him, which, hey, cleanup's an important job.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Rhett, who is just below the Dice Roll Drillers. I didn't realize you were just by differential, but you're also 2-2, Rhett. Still in playoff contention right now. Well, let's start with you, Curry, again. Oh, well, yeah, Curry, what do you think? Are you surprised to see Rhett at 2-2?
As we know, Rhett is a good player. I'm not surprised he's doing as well as he is. His team, on the other hand, and I'm sorry, Rhett, is a little wonky to me. Because again, there's actually a few mons on there I just don't ever use. And I don't really know like how, like, I'm not going to be a good utilizer of them. Like Corviknight, I'm terrible with. Mudsdale, I've never used Mudsdale right. Cloyster, I think is trash. There's some on there I think is really good. The Weezing's kind of signature of Rhett, and we know he knows how to use it. I'm not surprised he has a lot of options. We're still waiting to see him bring the Lanoon, because he hasn't utilized it yet. And I know Lanoon's a fun mon to use, as I used it last season. So I can't wait to see what he does with it, if he doesn't trade it away.
I could see him easily at 3-1 for sure. The Mudsdale, the beat up stuff, I love it. Of course, like Curry mentioned, the Weezing. Rhett is the master Weezing player in the league for sure. So he's always gonna have something, and his prep's always really well done. So no, not surprised at all.
So next up we have Senpai, coach of the Rock'em Sock'ems, in 8th place right now, still in playoff contention. Senpai's been playing his ass off this season. I feel like he's been doing really well.
I disagree.
Oh, really?
And I'm the one that lost to him, and I disagree.
Yeah,
the only reason why I'm going to say that is he put Mental Herb on Persian. It's like not even putting an item on it.
That was a weird choice. Yeah.
The only thing I have to say.
Oh, well, are you surprised at his current placement?
No, I'm not surprised. Senpai's good. We know this.
I think I watched one of his games, and I think it was in my prep for this week, and I think he was trying to like burn Moltres to reduce its damage or something, but I could have just not understood what was going on myself. But his team looks really scary, with the Lando and the G-Max Blastoise. All the G-Max moves that deal continuous damage are strong, so I think it's a good team.
Yeah, and he's I don't know how he did week 4, but I don't know. I think he has a really strong chance at playoffs this season. He's been doing well. He's been doing well this season for sure. And next up we have the Worcester Stunfisks, currently in 9th place, just outside of the playoff standings right now.
Outside looking in.
Yeah,
Always.
He's used to it. He's used to it from last season.
0.
So harsh. Stunfisk, baby.
Yeah,
Stunfisk,
the
baby.
Stunfisk, baby.
I mean, Bubble, what do you think of the Stunfisk's performance. Well, I shouldn't say that. Not what do you think of the Stunfisk's performance. What do you think of the actual Stunfisk's performance?
I don't know, man. I don't know what anything on this team does.
And I think he's using it to his advantage, right?
Correct.
Rhett, are you surprised at the Curry's placement here?
Yeah, I am. If I had been placing bets at the beginning of the season, I would have placed him higher.
You were really cheering the Stunfisk on this last week. I mean, you were really you were loving it.
Always believe in the Fisk. Always, and I always forget that. It got me a fissure off. 30% chance. Hit it.
Well, I mean, it's 100% chance when Stunfisk uses it. So.
It is. Anytime I've used it, and even practice against you, Theo, when I'm just
it's
sitting
in
there.
Bulbapedia, guys.
Curry Stunfisk, the one bred by Kate Moss, is 100% accurate. Fissures.
Just under Curry, we have the fifth leaf with the Lost Teddiursas, currently in 10th place. And obviously, you know, everyone in the red right now, it's so early on. You can... It shifts a lot. Last season, it came down to week 10 to determine who was actually going to make playoffs in those last few spots. So
we have 6 people in 2-2. So
yeah, it's going to shift so much in the next few weeks. We'll have folks confirming their playoff spot in the next few weeks, and then we'll have folks that are well, at least it seemed to me like besides a couple teams last season, I mean, it was a free-for-all at the very end for the playoff spots. So I expect the same this season. So the fifth leaf, Lost Teddiursas. Rhett, you just played them. Let's hear it.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna make me talk about this match again.
Don't make him do it.
I still need you to post that video, Rhett.
It posted while we were on this call. Actually.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Awesome. We'll watch it.
Yeah.
Should we just do a viewing party? A viewing party with
Viewing
the
party. Might get upset in the middle of it.
Yeah.
He's got a great team. Like he I think the trades he's been making have been good. I think he went in a little too hard on the, you know, fake trick room thing that he was doing at the beginning. And the trades he's made have really improved his team. He, you know, if there was one piece of advice that I would want to give to fifth, and this is a little ridiculous given how our last game went down, but like I think sometimes when he's under pressure, you know, he doesn't keep calm and you know, think everything through while he's playing. And this is coming from somebody that lost his week 4 match to doing exactly that. But I think that is an area that a lot of coaches could stand to improve on, and clearly I'm one of them, but I think it would also benefit fifth a lot.
We gotta give him his due too. He said he wasn't doing Perish Song. He said it wasn't a Perish Song team, and he hasn't pressed on Perish Song yet, right? So
he hasn't. No.
Yeah, more power to him. And you know, it's gonna be close in this the middle of the pack. I definitely think he still has a strong chance at playoffs for sure.
I'm gonna be honest. After trying to help him build for you, Rhett, I'm surprised he's not doing worse. His team, it's hard to build power on it. He does not have a lot of power. And that is the biggest struggle, I think, for his team.
Yeah, he has the cart, but it's just so frail.
Yeah, and besides that, it's like he lacks power. He needs to play really tricky. He needs to play to the tricks that his team provides. And which when you play a really tricky team like that, you have to be on your A game every single match, which is a lot harder to do over a spread of time than it is to just kind of have some power that you can always just kind of throw on there and make people over worry about.
He's got a couple heavy hitters, the special ones with Gengar and Primarina as well. But yeah, you're just waiting for him to pull out the Perish Trap eventually, right?
Eventually, yeah. We'll see.
At some point, maybe. I do like the Decidueye.
Oh, I guess that would. I mean, Decidueye hits pretty hard. That should help his team. And it's solid and it's decently bulky as well.
Yeah, he just has a lot of common weaknesses on his team, which is unfortunate.
A lot of ghost weaknesses, but four different ally switch users. Two different trick room users, a lot of fake out. So I mean, he does have some tricks.
He does. The problem is if you're gonna ally switch, and I just hit dark move, I know whatever I'm gonna hit's gonna be super or a ghost move.
Fair enough.
Kind of the problem.
Yeah. This does seem to be the season of the ally switch.
It is.
A lot of people see me running ally switch this season.
Not me. I don't have one.
I've never wanted to click ally switch. Sometimes you just have to.
Yeah. I ran it.
Way.
I ran it this week specifically to imprison it, but then I ended up clicking it anyway. No.
When in doubt, switch it out.
Yeah. And then we have next up the Detroit Delmise by Raspberry, who also ran Ally Switch this week on the Spirit Tomb to get the Belly Drum tech off on Azumarill. Are you guys surprised to see the Detroit Delmise at 2-2? Were you expecting to be better at this point, a 3-1 or a 4-0?
I think Raz is a really good battler, and I'm surprised not to see him with the 3-1. I think the Venusaur Ninetales are really strong. I know he didn't bring them this last week. I think Duraludon's super strong, should probably come a lot more than it does. Well, I guess it has come a few times, but I don't know. The Prankster Tailwind is really strong. So I think this is a really good team.
So I just faced them this week, and Raz is a phenomenal battler. Our match was not an easy one. He made the right call when to ally switch. Granted, I kind of just didn't care about ally switch. I was just going to attack any slot I wanted to kind of attack. I think he's a great battler. His team, I think, is a little top heavy. Looking at it, it definitely struggles against Trick Room, which unfortunate for you, Raz. Looking at your next couple of weeks, you got some more Trick Room coming up if you are watching this. But so I guess that's actually wrong. I think his team can do really good in Trick Room, especially because he has the Azumarill. Running the Belly Drum, that really caught me off guard. A lot of times I usually ran like AV on it, or I run like Life Orb, because especially if you're Dynamaxing, you don't need the Belly Drum. That thing's still going to hit with like a truck with huge power.
Huge power, yeah.
So I mean, that being said, heck, you could have put his policy on it. It's bulky enough. I think he actually does have a good chance against Trick Room teams. I think he just needs to kind of get out of his head a little bit with that, but he's an amazing battler. I actually really enjoy watching his videos just because he is so animated, and I think it makes his videos fun to watch.
I freaking love it.
Yeah, no,
they're so entertaining.
I look forward to his all the time. I look forward to everyone's, but his is I don't know, it's special to me. I like his. He's very entertaining.
Yeah. Any thoughts?
Mr. Rhyme can do some work with the Trick Room.
Oh yeah, I love Mr. Rhyme. I used it myself before.
Yeah, I almost see, like, if he's really worried about Trick Room, you may want to just tag on Azumarill more often, just as an option. each week.
Yeah, that was the first week he brought it.
Yeah.
I think, especially with Aquajet, like it's still, like, regardless of being in Trick Room or not, it's still gonna put in some work. Plus, the Pseudo Ludo hits pretty hard. It's fragile, but it hits hard. I think he's got some stuff. I think I'm not surprised. I'm surprised he's not doing as good, I guess, but he's not doing bad. He lost to the admins, and that's the only games he lost. And hey, we're not bad, right, Bubble? We're okay players.
No comment.
And then next up, we have the two teams with a 1-3 record. That being the Clinton Clefables and the Corpus Christi Crabbies, coached by Rolo and Krabby Shack, respectively. So are you guys surprised to see these two kind of struggling this season versus last season?
Well, I'm looking at the Clefables lineup right now, and I like the changes he's made, but I do think that he the team he drafted is not the team he wanted to draft. And I've talked to him a little bit, and his plans looked a little different and got shaken up pretty early in the draft, and then he was kind of panic drafting a little bit to try and fix it up. And I think he did a reasonably good job of fixing it up, but I do think that if that probably impacted his early season more than it will his late season. And especially because I think the changes that he's made, grabbing Blaziken and Salamence in particular, I think Salamence, Clefable, and Paparaja makes a really interesting fantasy core.
I guess I hate to say this, Rolo. I like you so much. I'm not surprised right now with your team because you got screwed a little bit in the draft. And you got to play hard with this team. The Clefable's only going to be able to carry you so much. I think he can do it, though. I think Rolo can do it. Rolo, we know Rolo. He brings some crazy strats sometimes.
So yeah, I've done a lot of prep with Rolo, like here and there. So I know he's a good battler. So I'm a little surprised at where he's at right now. I know he really utilizes Kangaskhan and Clefable pretty well. He's always got something tricky going on. So I expect him to make a good push for the playoffs, or at least try to get back closer to even on his record.
Yeah. How about the Crabbies? Are you surprised to see the Crabbies also towards the bottom of the rankings?
I do, because I am, because it feels like he looked at your team from last season with like the Whimsicott Heatran, and like that's a really good way to start, especially with Dracovish, all with Tailwind, so he can hit really hard. He's got a redirection with Togetic there. So yeah, I think this is a really good team. I think he's just gotta, figure the ins and outs of it, and I think he'll turn it around too.
I think Joe is currently tackling his biggest problem that he has as a player, and that's speed tiers. And that Whimsicott is making him learn speed tiers whether he likes it or not. So I think because we see him using the Whimsicott every single week, he knows it's a really good mon and it's very valuable. He knows people want to target it down. We see every week he gets better using the Whimsicott. And he's using the Dracovish better. I think as he improves and understands the speed tiers more, I think we're going to see a whole another Joe by the end of it, and I think he will make a comeback. But right now I think he's I think he feels a little lost, and I think you can see that sometimes, but I think he's getting his confidence back.
I would love to see him switch out his Gmax for something else.
Oh, he just switched it out from Duraludon to Inteleon.
I know.
I told him not to.
Yeah. The other Pokemon that he's got that's going to force him to work on his speed tiers is Dracovish.
Yeah.
Speed tiers are so important for Dracovish.
Yeah, like I said, I think he's conquering it right now.
Yeah.
Slowly.
I really want to see Joe. Want to see Joe do well and make the playoffs. Despite his rough early season.
He did it last time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could clearly tell in the first couple of weeks from his videos that, I mean, he was getting acclimated to, understanding the speed control and the speed tiers of his team. But I mean, his performance this past week has shown big improvement over the first couple of weeks for sure of that understanding. And I mean, his team his core is so good at the top that there's definitely a strong chance that he can contend for a playoff spot for sure.
Togetic, I just want to say, is probably my favorite Eviolite user. It's
so
with
good.
the follow me and
So
and
good.
it's so bulky. 105 special defense, 85 defense. Doesn't have a lot of HP, but it's so bulky.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it, folks. That's all our teams. We talked about 14, 15, and 16 earlier already. But yeah, those are our thoughts right now after the first almost 4 weeks. I will say that we are planning on doing another video later in the season, roughly around weeks 6 or 7-ish, once more matches are played out, and we'll see how our thoughts change from here and then. All right, so with that, thank you, Rhett, thank you, Bubble, thank you, Curry, for joining me here, and we'll get going. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.